Hey everyone, good morning to the majority of people joining us now. Um, we'll just let everybody sort of trickle in now. No doubt a few more people coming in, but yeah, really appreciate everyone taking the time. We ran this webinar in Aussie US time my morning today. So yeah, it's some good questions, some good feedback that was provided, but for everyone here, if there's any questions or thoughts that come along, there's a number of CloudOlive folk on the call on the webinar here. So just pop any comments or questions you've got into the chat, and then we'll monitor those and try to address them along as we go. We will keep this to 30 minutes, or certainly do our best to do so. And the main theme of this is additional automation now. Like I feel like building CloudOlive now for a little over 6 years, we spent a lot of our time making sure that the data we provide goes from complex data structures to something that's really workable and most important, accurate. That's something that we've really always held as the most important thing that we do. Now we move into the next phase of the company where it is, how do we remove clicks that you're having to go through and make it responsibly automated before we move into almost fully hands off in the future? And we'll go through it. Okay, so there's actually a lot that went into this release. The main bit that we'll go through, of course, is the bulk update. But we were looking and reviewing all the different enhancements, some larger than others, of course, and some fixes that we had to do, some background information, sort of speed, background workers that we're just doing the thing that nobody really ever sees, but it impacts the performance positively or negatively. There were 218 different updates or tickets that have been rolled into this update. So there's quite a lot in there. But we'll spend our time, the majority of this call, we will go through the core part of this, which is naturally the bulk update. So let's get stuck into it, okay? One thing to announce, primarily my co-founder Enrico um, has spent the majority of his first quarter of this calendar year getting us SOC 2 certified as we moved more and more up market, and certainly across Europe as well. It was just often like we felt we were doing things well and right, but we spent the time and invested the effort to actually get externally certified. So really pleased that we've now got that trust mark underneath us. And although the vast majority of what we're doing was right in alignment, it certainly sharpened us and really matured the company for our next stage of growth as well, which is really important to do now rather than wait any longer. So the four main parts of this release, okay. The bulk pushback, really timely, I would say, in terms of some of the capability we'll go through here. A big part that, or certainly a component of it is with Microsoft increasing their prices on you on a periodic basis, like at least once a year these days. This update gives you a really neat way that you can keep right on top of that. And I'll show you some of the layers that we believe give you perfect control in that area. Um, and like that's what we class as the margin alone. Like, of course, this will update unit costs and unit counts as well, and push back to invoice descriptions if you're using that feature en masse. But the key, like a really important one, I think, is if you sell it RRP from Microsoft or other, but Microsoft in general, is it aligned? And at the scale of some of the partners that we work with are at, very difficult to manage. There's a couple of other enhancements. One that was pretty highly requested was from the export from MRR Insights actually having the last reconciled date now exposed. So it's now in Excel and you can do whatever you want with it after that. Put it into other teams or departments to understand why something hasn't been reconciled for a period of time. And then a couple of other workflows. We'll mention a few that I think will enhance your experience instantly. But there's many that have gone in behind the scenes, and you'll get a follow-up email with a couple of things additional to what we talk about here. So I'll actually come across into CloudOlive now. If I can get across. Okay. So Let me just refresh. Let me just log back in. Alrighty. So one of the key parts here that we want to talk about is the bulk update. Okay. So firstly, if you don't see any update or bulk update from in this view, very simply, just come in here and enable pushback here. So enable pushback is our way to then you give us access to be able to push back changes into your PSA. Switch that on. You don't need anything else really from that point on in order to enable the bulk update. I will actually spend a couple of minutes on charges, although it's been there for like it was their last release. It's almost like a couple of minutes of training around this to see if it's something that you could potentially put into your own world when it comes to consumption-based billing or Azure in particular. So if we look at Microsoft here, okay, this button, enable bulk pushback, we're just very simply going to switch this on. Okay, we're now in bulk update mode. You'll notice that the remaining steps and the warning sign being where a line item's dropped off from the prior month, disappears because we're like, you're in this mode. You don't need this other information there right now. So what's happened here is it's automatically filtered on the line items that are available to be pushed back, meaning they're mapped and there's something wrong with them. When we say there's something wrong with them, there's 3 areas now that you can further filter on or focus in on. And in a sec, we'll show you how you can update all of these in one go. Unit counts, we're buying 10, we're selling 9, we need to update it. The unit cost is misaligned, or this one here in terms of RRP sell price. So you can now just pick one of those, and it's now going to leave you with just those things that CloudOlive has recognized as a problem. You can also then untoggle this, okay, and this will literally just show every single line in there, and you can grab them, and we'll just do that to sort of bring forward additional information. You can click on an individual line item, and this step 3 becomes available, or you can pick all of them here, or of course just select all line items there as well. I'm going to go ahead and just select all the lines and then review and update. So this pop-up here is like becomes your friend, okay? Firstly, we've got the unit quantities. You'll notice anything that, I'll just see if there's any matching. Yeah, so anything that's gray here, it means, hey, that they're aligned. There's nothing for us to do here. You can totally override these things and come in and add it to be 23. And you'll notice the color coding, we hope, is really friendly to the eye in terms of green means we're about to increase the revenue on this individual line item. You can then go and commit that one touch, no pop-ups, no nothing else. It's just going to make the change within the PSA. So if we wanted to do all of them, it's defaulted here because of the majority of the problems were around the unit count. But we can do unit count if you want to calibrate the unit cost. And then the sell price here, you can do all 3 in one go if you wish. Or when we say the RRP is changing, let's go in there and have a look at it before we actually act on it. Like, just think how long or hard that current process would be in order to try and find that information. Now we expose it across this entire vendor to go, hey, the uplift is that, the downgrade is that. Why on earth would we be going down? Well, let's just sort by the impact here and go and have a look. So that's indicating that we're about to increase something wild here, right? So the PSA currently is selling at this. The proposed RRP has recommended this, but naturally a big uplift. You can just push that in or come down and push all of them, or of course sort the other way here and go, oh, do you know what? This one, I'm going to wait. I'm going to come back and look at that in a sec. The other ones I'll go and bulk accept. Okay. So where this RRP sell price has come in from is within the file itself. We've exposed now 2 new. This one's actually been in there for a release or 2 now, but this one here is brand new where very simply, right, if you've got an RRP in the vendor data set, in this instance is just in column I, very simply equals that, double click it down. When we now import that data, it's going to be the suggested sell price in the bulk update. But it'll also be what's populating here as well. That suggested sell price has come in this time from the RRP file itself. And naturally it's Excel, right? So if we wanted to do a custom formula or of some description to do something else with that RRP, absolutely, we've got that flexibility. I think the main news, certainly in the week that we've been working now with partners specifically around this feature has it's featured in a number of different areas and solves a number of different challenges. And I'm really, really, really happy with the way that it's been built and deployed here in the first week or so that we've been testing it with our users. And if there's any questions that crop up, please feel free to chime in. When we exit the bulk update, now we're back into normal mode. These all appear here. You'll notice here when the sync occurs and it's been successful, okay, it's just going to leave a little indicator here that it's all good, no problems here. You'll also receive an email of this nature, okay? So, hey, Adam, it took no minutes to do it. Here are the 25 things or 10 things that have changed. The quantity did this to this, did this to this, unit price did this to this. And you can then click back into it. If there was any failures at all, it would list them in the same fashion down here, but we'll also then explain, hey, this is why it actually failed for whatever reason, and you can go in there and act on it. If something does fail, it comes up with that. If you see that there, so it's like, hey, we can't push anything back to something on an well, we can try to, right? But it's not going to, it's a billing risk to you still. So FYI, that would be one of the ones that appears on the bottom of the of that email that comes across. In the first instance, okay, is a maximum of 25 per batch. Okay, so if you've got 100 different updates to make, the workflow would be come in here, that will automatically filter on to go, hey, here are the 100 line items below that are eligible to be pushed back. Either click them here or just select all here and then go into there. If you just update them now, what the system will do is it will automatically flush out from the filter below all the ones now that have been completed and don't need to get acted on again. You simply come in here, pick the next 25 or click that, whatever's your natural sort of workflow there. Click that, come back in, 25 more, it'll be accepted, and just do that the 4 times and away you go. That'll be everything. Then you would get, if it was 25 per batch, you had 100 do, you'd essentially then get 4 emails that come across pretty instantly afterwards. So from the bulk update, we've also we've added in, so if you think about the unit cost, okay, so we've always had this little slider here to indicate vendor unit cost does or does not match what's in my ConnectWise or AutoTask. This is the same thing here, right? It's exactly the same. Whatever's left over is what's there. We've now got here as well. So we don't show the unit sell price in the UI here, and we've talked long and hard. How do we squeeze something else in? We don't want to add too many more columns to this. And we've also thought, oh, what can we take away? There's really nothing we can take away. Everything tells a story in this view. But at least now you can toggle this, and that new toggle will slide across. It's the exact same thing, right? So if we bring in the RRP now, you can just slide that across, and you know underneath that the RRP that's getting indicated by the vendor is not aligned to the sell price in your PSA. I think it's cleaner to then bring that into a review stage here and very simply click here and then have a look at them. That's the easiest way. You can then also see the instant impact on making those changes, and then you choose to make them or not. So one of the other pieces that so I guess it's the same with every single one of these vendors now. Enable bulk update, go through the process, select all lines, push them in. If you just want to do the unit cost as well, naturally a hell of a lot quicker. Again, 25 per batch. You can do that. You can come back in and you can just focus on the unit cost. Flick this back off so it's bringing in all lines, and then you can bring in other things. You can bring in the same line again and do something else if you so choose. That's the way it's been built. So let me just double check if there's any questions or anything coming up. Not at the moment. Cool. Um, so last one here. So the one other item that we that a lot of our users, I don't think enough of our users are actually leveraging right now is um, whether it's charges. Charges is our terminology for we're going to create the edition or the product within the PSA for that month. And next month we create it again. We set the start and the end date and it rolls. It's all driven through our interface. Um, Azure is a really good example where, again, in the bulk update, depending on what information you choose to show your clients, here's just an idea. And partly this is almost like a retraining for everyone here, just to let you know that this type of capability is available. We've decided in our MSP to compress the 5,000 line items that this single customer has within Azure across half a dozen resource groups. And when rather than having 5 or 6 different products or services within the PSA, we have the one, but then we can still split out leveraging the invoice description, which is just columns and smarts from the Excel that we pulled in, compressing that to say, here's the total cost to the customer. Here's the breakdown of that cost that we're just calculating via the Excel. In it goes. This can, if we're looking at May, right? So if you wanted to build this in April, you can either move this effective date and it will do that, or we just pick the month initially in April and that will naturally automatically do it. Couple of questions there on way to see any notes in the bulk update. Sometimes we don't want to push back a change. Good question. Not at this stage. Let me take that offline, Sarah, and see if that's something we can pull through. We'll see invoice descriptions, but no, not individual notes. That's a good point, actually. It's something that we've for line items that you choose not to ever push back because it might just be a quality control check or part of a bundle or something like that. You may wish to choose to either pass. If you pass something, I should say, it's now no longer in this main view. It will not be caught up in any of the bulk update workflow. And naturally, if you hide anything, it's going to be the exact same thing. But it's a good question. There's nothing at the moment that would showcase a note. The only thing we've done with notes this time around is move them a little bit. You might have seen it already. We've moved the note to be here rather than where it was a little while ago. It was a little bit bunched up. Second email to receive. No, there's not. I'd be interested to see what the rationale would be to have that because there obviously you could build something on your side within your own email to trigger something. So the question was just if there was a second email that could possibly go to. Not at this stage. We naturally track absolutely everything from an auditing perspective. It's not showcased here. Any changes that go into your PSA will have the same tracking from a like it will mention that CloudOlive made that update. But I would say from a like instant way to work that around would be set up your own something on your own side and push that email that we send across to you somewhere. So we'll come back to one other thing here. So you'll notice down here, okay, so those doing their own upload, the general process like historically was come in here, download, do the work. By clicking this now, what it's going to do is it's actually going to it's going to bring you into this screen while also automatically downloading the file and opening it up for you. So it essentially removes 2 to 3 clicks per time you do this. And naturally you still have hundreds open. You open it, you transfer it across, and then drag it in here, fill in your bits of information. So we think we've been using it now for a little while, and it just saves a whole chunk of time per upload that's going on. And any marginal improvements that we can make in that process, I think, is a net positive for everyone. The last little workflow I just want to remind everyone on, or just go through here, is, let's say we've reconciled Huntress, this vendor. So we do the bulk update. Workflow is pick all the lines, review them. We're just doing counts here, push them all in, away they go. So on the bulk update, we'll just go through that again. So if I do one update, it's instant. Okay. I may skip one, I may not. When you do the lot, it just asks, hey, are you sure you want to do that? Notice this now, they're all gone. And that's because we've got this filter on. When we then bring this back around, all of these now have this little note to go, hey, this was successful, we're all good. If there's any reds, again, it's in that email as well, waiting for me now. Exit this, we'll do the cleanup, or we'll pull back the changes that have occurred from the PSA, then generally this will all go green and we're all happy and everything's good. While we're waiting for that, okay, when we're pulling information back from the PSA, if it's already set to reconciled, it won't update anything. But if it's in progress, or waiting approval, or anything other than reconciled or approved, when the sync completes, then one of the important enhancements actually that have come into this release is when the acceptance from Autotask or ConnectWise is finalized, this will then refresh this table. So just in the last month or so, there was a little bit of inconsistency we found. That's now been corrected and fixed, whereby you were going to have to come in maybe 3 or 4 hours later and come and refresh the table. It wasn't a great or obvious user experience. That's now being corrected. So I just want to remind everyone as well. So when we move something to reconciled, okay. So I'll just see if we're done on this. So we're all good. Everything's green. Everyone's happy. Everything's lined up. On the reconciled now. So reconcile step 1, and then after you reconcile it, push that. This little table refresh it's not doing anything to Autotask or ConnectWise. It's literally just refreshing the table below, because we cache a huge amount of information. Step 1, move that to reconciled or approved, whichever one you use. It's the exact same. It's just now going to go, any changes in the PSA will not be reflected in here. Step 1, and then click this. And the reason why we're doing this is by those 2 steps in that order, now we can come over here and go, show me anything to do with Huntress. I could search here, or if I've got lots of Huntress products, I could have just searched for it here and it'll have a similar result. But what I'm looking for mainly is, are there any line items in my Autotask or ConnectWise that was not just reconciled on that invoice? And we can see one here. So it means one of 2 things. Now we got two little stories to look at, I suppose, here. This one mustn't have been on the vendor side, but we're still billing it. And this one hasn't been there for a while. We've actually never reconciled this thing ever. Oh, not good, right? So that reverse reconciliation requires those 2 steps. There's not really been a client that we've worked with that hasn't found something, and we've seen some ridiculous stories actually of what this elevated. One partner, I shouldn't laugh, but one partner had been billing a client of theirs for 9 years, $30-something thousand worth of services that had just been accruing in the background because the client always paid it. Now they get to go back and sort of apologize for that. If you're not leveraging that now, highly recommend you do. The other cool thing about this is, by sliding this across, everything's perfect now with Huntress actually, so it won't really give us too much. If I refresh that there, it would all line up. But here we see the vendor and the auto task or ConnectWise line by line. So again, if you want to see one customer as a whole, you can then search for them there or in here. And then with this toggle, that'll allow you just to see everything. You can go, oh, this thing hasn't been reconciled for a couple of months. Let me go and explore it, quickly identifying it. Another common piece that we've seen at this point, you go, well, this thing's a yearly. I don't really want it to keep flagging. Use this date field and put it into the future. So if I do that into, say, August, this then means that any line items that are past, like more than 1 month past in the future, will no longer show if I filter on that. So it's a really quick and easy way that you can finesse this into what you need to see on a monthly basis. Alrighty. Couple of things. If you want to go through any one-on-one training, QR code here, email support@cloudolive.com, or Brandy Ann, who's our newish, I suppose, customer success manager based in the US, comes with a huge amount of MSP related billing experience and was a power user of CloudOlive at a very large MSP prior to joining us in January. Get booked in either around this or any other training. Here's Brandy Ann here. She's probably asleep because she's in New York right this second. But one of the other things we want to bring forward is the Olive branch. I'm not smart enough to come up with these sort of names, so this was definitely somebody else in the team with Ali and Brandy Ann that thought of this. But this is a private Teams channel where our partners were inviting in, and ideally we just want to have a really easy way where you can access us and all the wider community to answer any questions. There's going to be some events that are run consistently here where our team will just be there for a couple of hours, especially around the billing, like the times when you're likely going to need quick answers, and you can just dive in and get instant access to us and move as quickly as you need to. Okay. We will send a link to you in your email that you can then accept as well to join. And we really hope to see everybody in there very soon. Brandy Ann will also be running best practice webinars throughout that. We've set out 8 different parts of the system and problems that MSPs generally face, and we'll run them over a couple of months. Sort of every couple of weeks running something specific, and you can jump in for half an hour and then jump back out and ask any questions. But you'll see more of that in the not too distant future. So one other thing, if we're very grateful when our partners who are enjoying what we're building and it's helping them solve a problem. If there's other MSPs that you know of that you think would be a really good fit, that have challenges right now with regards to sort of a month-end overall billing process, please send them our way. We will tag that. And then if they do end up going ahead with it, would love to reward you either with a straight $1,000 or like taking that money off of your subscription with us, either or. One partner in Oz earlier on today said, well, maybe it's 500 to the new partner and 500 to the current partner. I don't mind, right? If that works for you, if that's fair is what he thought, either or. But just to say a big thank you, that's something that we'd love to see if that can likewise help us grow, help us build, like hire a wider team and build a really meaningful product with you over time. Are there any questions in the chat? One thing to note, okay, so we are. Let me chuck it back on this here. So this is currently in beta. So you may, if you want to access it now, it's probably like we're going to release this to everyone in about a week's time, regardless, or some point next week, possibly even on this weekend. If you want it now, please just drop either me an email on adam@cloudolive.com or hit support@cloudolive.com, and we'll just flick the toggle on so you can get access to it today. If you want that, do that. Otherwise, it will come very soon with this training as well in an email, and hopefully you'll be in the Teams chat with us by that point as well. But we have, I think, bulk mapping tools. Good question. So is there a bulk updating? So currently that's all handled in the Excel. Um, the next focus for us, alongside doing a Halo integration right now, which probably doesn't really matter too much to too many people on here, but in conjunction with that, the next focus will actually now be building API integrations directly into CloudOlive, so we can remove some of the upload processes that are going to be required. Like I think the invoice will always need to be there, and that's completely different to the to an API just updating things. But that being said, inside of that process, we will then build and need to build the mapping logic. And we've got 6 years of ideas that we will build this out perfectly. So trust us when we get to it, it's going to be incredible. um, but later second half of this year, the APIs and part of that user experience piece is absolutely the conditional mapping that's going to be required to solve this problem once and for all. So I'd say by the end of this year, yes, it's part of the API. It's part of just call it phase two of the company that we're entering into now, which is far more automation and a real focus on user experience. So as soon as we can give it to you, Sarah, we'll get it out into your hands. Cool. All right, everyone. We are 1 minute over time. Keep in touch and look forward to chatting with everyone in the channel. And thanks again for your business and your feedback. Hopefully you enjoy this release. Have a nice day.